Welcome, everyone, to the NoDQ.com live recap of Friday Night Smackdown for April 4th, 2025. WWE back in the United States in Chicago, CM Punk's hometown, the road to WrestleMania 41, very much heating up. Let's discuss the show. First things first, this was a very noteworthy edition of SmackDown. A lot to talk about. It was very, very eventful. Let's get to it. We opened up with a triple threat video package: CM Punk versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. The main event, WrestleMania 41, Saturday. CM Punk made his big entrance in Chicago. He brought up how some people claim Europe has the best audiences, but he knew they were coming to Chicago. He grabbed the camera and started filming the fans. They were going crazy for Punk. He said that he was not supposed to be there. He talked about all of the struggles throughout his life, but he said he made it. He's in the main event of WrestleMania. He did the goosebumps thing with his arm that The Rock does. And then Punk talked about how he earned the WrestleMania main event. He said, now the hard work begins. He thanked his wife, gave a shout out to AJ Lee. Crowd popped for that. But then Paul Heyman interrupted. Heyman said that he was late, but it was not to be disrespectful to his best friend CM Punk. The crowd chanted EC Dub. Heyman said, God damn it, Punk belongs in the main event of WrestleMania. Heyman brought up how Punk saved the bloodline at Survivor Series. And now Heyman had a favor he wanted from CM Punk. And that favor is Heyman wanted to know CM Punk's favor. But Punk said Roman Reigns was not there yet, and Punk wanted to tell the favor right to Roman Reigns' face. And then Punk left the ring. Really strong opening segment to set up the final segment. These are the types of segments I really like for SmackDown. I like when they do a show-long storyline and keep you invested from start to finish. We had that cliffhanger last week, which I was a fan of, and they kept it going with the opening segment here. Well done. We had a little video to hype up the debut of Rey Fenix. We had Rey Fenix's debut after the commercial break. Rey Fenix versus Nathan Frazier from NXT, one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions. Fenix had a nice intro, very similar to Penta. And as a matter of fact, I felt like this whole debut was very similar to Penta's debut a couple of months ago. Rey Fenix, of course, the brother of Penta. They were the Lucha Brothers, and I presume one day they will team up again. Good match here. I think there were a few moments where maybe it was a little rough. There was one point where Frazier went for a dive, but his feet got caught in the ropes, and he almost had a very bad landing, but fortunately he was okay from that. Fenix did a lot of flashy moves. Frazier was able to kick out of a few things, including the fire driver from Fenix. Fenix did some signature moves like the running kick. He's running on the top rope and does the kick. They called it the Amigo kick. And then Fenix was eventually able to get the win with the move that they're calling the Mexican Muscle Buster. It was a nice win for Fenix. And then after the match, much like Penta, they did the post-match interview in the ring. And basically Fenix was very emotional, and he said that he is reborn and he waited his whole life to be able to finally say that he is WWE. I liked it. Well done here for Fenix. Made a big deal out of his debut, and we even got another match set for him for next week. Backstage, Santos Escobar was talking to Legado del Fantasma. He wanted them to have that fire that Fenix had, and Humberto said that Fenix is just a flash in the pan, and Santos said he'll go talk to Nick Aldis, and it was confirmed. We will see Fenix versus Humberto on next week's episode of SmackDown. Backstage, well, somewhere in the arena, there was a Drew McIntyre video promo. He was wearing an eye patch because he got slammed into that car windshield last week and apparently got glass in his eye, although it apparently wasn't actually glass, but they're playing up on that. He got something in his eye. It's believed to be legitimate, but he had the eye patch, and he said he may never be the same again. He said he's going to need a miracle. He's going to have to pray. And he said when he prays, bad things happen. I liked this. Good promo here. I like the eye patch. Good stuff to build up the feud. And then Braun Strowman cut a backstage promo, said he'll be defeating Jacob Fatu in the last man standing match, and he'll win the U.S. title at WrestleMania. Then we had Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga confronting him. LA Knight showed up, had some words for Solo and Tonga, and then went to the ring. We had LA Knight, the U.S. champion, going up against Tama Tonga. Pretty standard match here. You had Solo on the outside providing the distraction. That allowed Tama Tonga to get the upper hand for a while, but then Tonga, he mocked LA Knight's LA Knight, yeah. Then he went for the big elbow drop off the second rope, but Knight moved out of the way. Knight built up some momentum. Then Solo attempted to hit LA Knight with the spike, but he missed, and then LA Knight was able to finish off Tonga and pick up the win with the BFT. It was very standard. We had Solo Sikoa, actually not Solo. We had Paul Heyman backstage. Heyman said, whatever the favor is, the answer is yes. And then a car pulled up. He thought it was Roman Reigns, but it was actually Seth Rollins and not Reigns. And Rollins said he was feeling great. He has formulated a plan for WrestleMania, and he was going to be present to hear what the favor is from CM Punk's own mouth. We then had a very interesting segment. We had an in-ring verbal promo battle between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton, the women's champion, with Wade Barrett as the moderator. I'm not sure what the hell Charlotte Flair was wearing. She had this strange attire, what looked like a neck brace, but it was just part of her outfit. Very weird. Anyways, Charlotte said that there's no comparison between her and Tiffany. She said that she's going to come out on top at WrestleMania. And then Tiffany responded by saying that Charlotte will actually come in number 2 next to her daddy, like she always does. And she'll also come in number 2 at WrestleMania. Charlotte tried to respond, but Charlotte was getting booed heavily and said that Tiffany just says the same things that all of her other opponents say. And then Tiffany said outside of the ring, Charlotte is not the queen of shit. And Charlotte was making fun of Tiffany's voice. Tiffany said Charlotte is a Nepo queen. And then Tiffany said, when it's all said and done, Charlotte is just going to be what she is outside of the ring, alone. And then she asked, what's Charlotte's record? 0-3, making a reference to Charlotte being divorced 3 times. And then Tiffany quickly left the ring, and Charlotte responded by saying, is that why Kaiser's in my DMs? Making a reference to Tiffany's real-life boyfriend, Ludwig Kaiser. And that was the segment. Tiffany held up the title as she was walking out of the ring. And a lot of people thought that this was off the rails, that they went off the script. Whatever it was, I will say this. I am more interested in this match now than I was before SmackDown. Whatever they did out there, whatever it was meant to be, whatever it ended up being, it got me more hyped for the match. So it worked. Whatever it was, it worked for me. I'm looking forward to the match now. I don't know what the deal was here, what they were trying to accomplish, how much of it was work, how much of it was not a work. I was entertained by it. I will say that. It was a fun segment, a bit of a train wreck, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this match now. And I was kind of on the fence about it before, but now I have to say I'm interested in where this goes. We had the Street Profits coming down to the ring, and they were there to watch Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY in a #1 contenders match for the tag team titles. We had a back and forth match here between the two teams, but then Gargano prevented the Skull and Bones finisher attempt. And while he was doing this, the top turnbuckle got exposed. You had Ciampa attempting to throw Sabin into the exposed turnbuckle, but Sabin blocked it. DIY tried to finish him with meat in the middle, but Sabin avoided that as well. And then Ciampa tried to win with his feet on the ropes. Ciampa then got sent into the exposed turnbuckle, and Sabin was able to pin Ciampa. Motor City Machine Guns now the #1 contenders. I don't think they confirmed it for WrestleMania. They might still add other teams to the mix and do like a 4-team match, which is what I felt they were always going for. But for now, Motor City Machine Guns officially your #1 contenders for the tag team titles. It was good for what it was. I will say that. We then had Naomi versus B-Fab. But before Naomi could get to the ring, she was attacked from behind by Jade Cargill. By the way, Naomi still has her old music, her babyface music, which, I mean, I really think she should change her music at this point. Officials came out there, and we did actually have a match. Naomi was able to recover relatively quickly, and then Naomi got the win over B-Fab. No surprise there. After the match was over, Naomi got on the mic. She called out Jade. Jade then ran back into the ring, laid out Naomi with a big boot. The security came back in. Naomi was able to escape. And then Nick Aldis came out there and officially confirmed that Naomi will go one-on-one with Jade Cargill. Naomi versus Jade Cargill one-on-one at WrestleMania. It's not going to be on SmackDown. They are, in fact, doing the match for WrestleMania, which I think is the right call. They've had a lot of history here. They did that whole injury angle with Jade Cargill. A lot of stock has been put into this match. I'm glad that they're not throwing it on SmackDown, and it will actually be on the WrestleMania card. Super Pony, I'll get to your super chat here in just a few moments so I can stay on topic. Looking forward to this. The only thing I think Naomi needs some new music. That's all. Backstage, we had a little confrontation between The Miz with Carmelo Hayes and Pretty Deadly. Miz and Mello were mocking Pretty Deadly for losing in their home country last week. And then they said maybe Pretty Deadly are like the Chicago Bears. Pretty Deadly made fun of the Marine movies in response and said that Miz has had so many tag team partners. He's out with a younger model all the time. Basically, he's the Leonardo DiCaprio of tag team wrestling. Miz was not happy about this, and I guess we got a little bit of a tease for a tag team match between these two teams. We had a Damian Priest video, and he talked about how he was just doing his job, cashing in Money in the Bank. It was McIntyre who kept screwing himself over and over again. He said that McIntyre's a hypocrite, and he called out McIntyre for a segment on next week's show. Next segment was Nick Aldis in the ring, a very serious demeanor. He brought out Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens came to the ring. Earlier in the day, it was reported that Owens had a significant injury, and Owens did in fact confirm this. He said that he gave everything for 25 years, but there's a price to pay. He said for the past 4 months, he's been dealing with a neck injury. And this week, they finally figured out what it was exactly and said that he needs to have surgery. The timing could not be worse. He said missing WrestleMania really sucks. He said he will never take anything for granted in the ring. He said thank you to the fans. He also said sorry. And then he left the ring. Randy Orton came out there, looked at Kevin Owens. We had, I guess, a little moment of respect. Owens walked to the back, and then I guess a fan said something offensive to Owens, and Owens had words with that fan. And the camera production people cut away from this. I don't know what that was about. But Owens was in the ring with Aldis, and Aldis confirmed Randy Orton no longer has a match at WrestleMania. And Randy Orton responded by giving Nick Aldis an RKO in the ring. So what does this mean now for WrestleMania? We'll talk about that. But first of all, Kevin Owens. Super Pony says, do you think Kevin Owens' career is over? Well, thank you for the super chat, Super Pony. I appreciate it. I don't know the exact details about KO's injury, but based off of what has been said, I mean, it sounds like it could be career threatening. We have seen guys come back from serious neck injuries. Edge, Adam Copeland came back. Steve Austin came back. It is possible. But definitely any kind of a neck injury is something that will put your career at risk. There can always be complications. Some injuries heal better than others. Big E hasn't come back yet, so hard to say what the future is for Kevin Owens. Hopefully he's healthy, and if he is healthy, he'll be able to come back. If he doesn't come back, definitely a Hall of Fame worthy career. So many great moments with him. Lots of great matches. He's a pro's pro. He had a lot of highlights. World champion. Wrestled Steve Austin. Got Austin out of retirement. Won the tag team titles with Sami Zayn. What a career. And I don't know if it's over or not. We'll see what happens with that. Now, as far as Randy Orton goes, WrestleMania, there could be some options for him. Is this the opportunity for Nick Aldis to finally put on the trunks and have a match, come out of retirement? Could be. I presume the guy has been staying in shape, and it's in case of emergency, break glass. If the opportunity comes along, Nick Aldis can step in. And then, of course, you got this mystery guy returning who everyone pretty much assumes is Aleister Black, the smoky vignettes. We saw another one this week. Could be him. Could be Rusev. Rusev has reportedly signed a new WWE contract. We all pretty much expected him to come back. Could be Rusev. Could be Aleister Black. Could be Nick Aldis. I would expect it to be one of those three. I did think, well, what about Sami Zayn? Sami Zayn could have done something to Kevin Owens, but they didn't go that route. I don't think it's going to be Zayn at this point. My guess is it would be either Black, Rusev, or Nick Aldis. And I don't think Aldis can find Randy Orton because they made this a storyline a while back. Orton paid double the fine for next time, the first time he got fined by Nick Aldis. So, yeah, he's good. Nick Aldis will have to find another way to get payback on Randy Orton, and that's either maybe face Orton himself or bring in somebody else to face Randy Orton. We'll see what they come up with. I mean, if Aldis steps in, Aldis can take the loss. I guess the argument for Black or Rusev is that they would lose their first big match coming back. Maybe not necessarily, but we'll see what they come up with. Very intriguing segment here. And again, my best wishes to Kevin Owens, and hopefully he comes out of this healthy. That's the main thing. Next up, we had the last monster or last man standing, whatever you want to call it, between Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu. Fun match here. They immediately started brawling. Fatu hit a couple of moonsaults. Strowman was able to roll to the outside, and then Strowman used a chair on Fatu and then gave him the Strowman Express through the barricade. Both men beat the 10 count, and then after the commercial break, they fought in the crowd, and then they ended up on top of one of those production crates. Strowman gave Fatu a suplex off the crate through a couple of tables below. Once again, both men beat the 10 count. We got the censored holy shit chants. They both got back into the ring, and then Fatu ended up giving Strowman a hip attack through a table that was set up in the corner. You had Strowman trying to beat the 10 count, but he just barely missed it. Jacob Fatu won the match and will officially challenge LA Knight for the United States Championship at WrestleMania. And as of now, it is a one-on-one match, no multi-man match, which I'm fine with. I prefer the singles matches. We'll probably see a multi-man IC title match anyways. I'm cool with this. I suspect we'll have a new champion, but we'll talk about that when we do predictions. We then had Roman Reigns arriving for the final segment, and for once in his life, Roman Reigns did not slow walk to the ring. He walked very quickly, the fastest Roman Reigns entrance of all time, perhaps. And he said that CM Punk would not be back if it wasn't for him. CM Punk would not be in the main event if it wasn't for him. And he wanted to know the favor from Paul Heyman to CM Punk. But then Seth Rollins came down. Rollins was talking about the heist of the century, WrestleMania 31, when he cashed in and won the world title at the expense of Roman Reigns. Last year's WrestleMania, how he cost Roman Reigns. He went on for a little bit. The crowd was getting impatient. They were chanting, "What's the favor?" And Roman Reigns responded by saying he didn't call out Rollins. He was calling out CM Punk. CM Punk finally came to the ring. Punk said that this was all about loyalty. He talked about his history with Paul Heyman. And he said at WrestleMania, he is forcing Roman Reigns out of his comfort zone because Roman Reigns will have to deal with them. At WrestleMania 41, Paul Heyman will be in the corner of CM Punk. Roman Reigns responded by laughing. He said that even if he allowed it, there's no way Paul Heyman would do it. And he told Paul Heyman to let Punk down nicely. But then Paul Heyman got emotional. He had a tear running down his face. And Reigns started to get a little angry. He said Heyman better wipe up those tears and say no. Heyman was still emotional. And Reigns said, he got more angry. He said, Heyman has one more chance, one more opportunity to say no. But then Heyman responded and said, he cannot do it. He cannot turn down CM Punk. Punk responded with a smirk on his face. Rollins was laughing hysterically at this. CM Punk then attacked Roman Reigns, left him laying with the GTS, and then had a bit of a face-off with Seth Rollins, an intense stare-off as SmackDown went off the air. Now, let me give my thoughts on this segment, and then I'll get to these super chats here. Thank you to everyone that has sent in a super chat. At first, I was like, okay, yeah, Paul Heyman in CM Punk's corner. That's fine, but it felt a little lackluster in that moment when CM Punk said it. But then the performance from Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns, that's what made this segment top tier. Paul Heyman was brilliant. Roman Reigns just getting angry. And then Seth Rollins' reaction. Everybody did such a fantastic job here that they made this feel like a really big deal. Even if on paper, oh, Paul Heyman's in the corner, CM Punk. But everybody did such a great job here that I'm into it. I got behind it. And I thought it was a fantastic segment to end the show. And I'm more hyped for this match now. And there's a lot of different ways it can go. Maybe Paul Heyman does, in fact, stick with CM Punk. Does he stab Punk in the back? Does he go with Seth Rollins? Does he walk out on everybody and go with somebody else? It makes the match all that more intriguing to me. Like I don't know where it's gonna go. There's so many different things that could happen with this. So yeah, I thought this was an excellent way to end the show. Let me get to the super chats here. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat. Says, still think Paul Heyman might end up with John Cena and Rock. He could. He might just throw his hands up and say, I'm done. And he walks out. Remember Sherry with Shawn Michaels and Rick Martel? Like, it could be that kind of scenario. Maybe Paul Heyman gets laid out and Seth Rollins is able to take advantage of it. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen here with this. They really needed to play this favor into the match and really tease Paul Heyman as being stuck in the middle here between his tribal chief Roman Reigns and his best friend CM Punk. Really build up the drama. What is CM Punk or what is Paul Heyman going to do at WrestleMania? I love it. Michael sent in a $2 super chat. Says, spoiler, Paul Heyman rejoins a returning Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. That I don't think will happen. I think that's a little ambitious of a prediction. I don't think Brock Lesnar is returning until that Vince McMahon lawsuit is resolved. And that doesn't look to be happening anytime soon. I do not think Brock Lesnar will be involved in this. But, that is something that could happen one day, but I don't think it's happening at WrestleMania. I don't think we're seeing that reunion. All in all, I thought this was a great SmackDown. Very eventful and newsworthy, as I mentioned at the beginning. Great crowd in Chicago. They were hot. They kept the energy going after 3 weeks in Europe. And the show did not drag at all. We had a lot of interesting segments on it. It was an entertaining 3 hours of SmackDown. I'm giving it 9 out of 10. To me, this was a must-watch SmackDown. And I think it was the best SmackDown of the 3-hour eras. I think they nailed it as far as building up WrestleMania. The triple threat, Paul Heyman, that was well done. You set up a couple other matches at WrestleMania. You got some intrigue with Randy Orton. What's going to happen with him now? It sucks about Kevin Owens, but I think, they're doing the best they can with that. I really enjoyed the episode. 9 out of 10. WrestleMania definitely heating up. We got a couple shows left. Hopefully they can keep their foot on the gas and really set things up very nicely and keep it going for WrestleMania. That's all I got for the SmackDown recap. We'll be talking more about this on the No DQ review next week. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the latest updates. And don't forget, AEW Dynasty. This Sunday, I'll be doing live coverage on NoDQ.com, and I'll be back with a live recap after the show sometime around midnight. Thankfully, All In Texas will be an afternoon show because they're avoiding competition with Saturday night's main event. I very much appreciate that. So thank you, Tony Khan. Can we do that for every pay-per-view moving forward? I would really like that. Maybe WWE needs to go head-to-head with every AEW pay-per-view so they can do that. I would like that. Anyways, guys, Dynasty coverage on NoDQ.com. Have a great weekend, everyone. Take care. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.